taking you through an introduction of Netcat. Just a few introductions, then we can get to the practical. So Netcat is a versatile network utility used for reading and writing data across a network connection using transmission protocol and UDP. UDP is user data protocol. So basically, you can get to scan networks, send things over networks, and all that. You get to see. No? Then some tasks in which you can do in Netcat are like scanning. You can grab banners. Grabbing banners is like getting information from a web service, or from your local machine, a service which you're running. You get information about the service, about on what IP it's running, what nini, when was it launched, and so on. We can also do file transfer, packet sniffing, port forwarding, and tunneling. We'll see this as we go on. Okay, so here's some basic network basic commands. So in Netcat, when using a Linux distribution, you usually write the command nc. I think I can show you just before we go. Just a bit into my machine. For this session, I'll be SSHing into my Kali machine. I use a tool called Putty to do this. Can everybody see this terminal over here?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, as I was saying, in Netcat, when you want to launch it in the terminal,
Maybe do just increase the font KLC.
sorry, I don't think I can increase the font in my name, but I'll explain as I go.
So
So in Netcat, when using a Linux distribution, you use the command nc to launch Netcat. So, let's say like you want to see the version and some of the commands which you can use nc minus. Then here it will display the version. As you can see here at the top is it's version 1.10, 1.10. Okay. And also when you want to launch Netcat on Windows, you just open your CMD. The command is a bit different. So on CMD, you'll use the command ncat, ncat in short, basically. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Let me explain some of these commands before we get to the practical. So as you have seen, the -h command just basically gives you the version and some more commands which you can use in Netcat. Then we have -v. -v means verbose. Verbose basically is when you're telling Netcat for this session, I want to see more details about what I'm doing. It's a good practice when you're starting, because you don't have a good understanding of Netcat. So as you go on, maybe you can use it without it, but it's advisable use the -v command, because it will give you much more information in which you can get to know what you're doing. Then there is -l, the small l. Here is basically you're telling Netcat to listen for a specific, just to listen. So it usually, the command usually goes like, let's say -v nc -v lp, so that you're telling Netcat to listen on a specific port. So there's also the command -p. We'll get to it, telling Netcat to listen on a specific port. But then if you have any question, you can just send it to the chat. Then one of the hosts will let me know. Then we have the execute. The execute command basically is -e, and you're telling Netcat to connect to a specific file program. So basically, let's say if I want to connect in my Kali Linux to my Windows CMD, I can use the -e command and give the command extension cmd.exe. You'll see how we'll do it. So it's just it executes a certain program. Then we go to -k. -k, this one basically keeps the connection open after it's closed. Let's say I was chatting with another machine which has Netcat. Then the connection he terminates it. I can be able to connect to that connection using the -k. So this helps like maintaining. You can continue doing your penetration testing on the machine as you exploit it. Then we have the -r. Basically, this randomizes ports. You don't have to specify a port; it will choose a port for you. And then some more commands which we have. We have the -u. -u means UDP mode, user data protocol. Basically, as I told you before, Netcat uses two types of protocols, TCP and UDP. So by default, Netcat uses TCP. So if you want to switch the protocol, you have to write the command -u. Then we go to the -w, then the seconds. Here, basically, you're telling after this let's say I'm listening on a certain port. When the connection ends between the two devices, terminate my session after a certain second, let's say 3 seconds. So it's usually accompanied by the seconds in which you want after allowing the session to be terminated. So it's -w, then let's say 10 seconds, then the session will terminate. Then we have the 0IO. The 0IO is usually displayed by -z. What this means is connect to don't connect to it, basically. Sorry for that. It means don't connect to the session. Just, let's say I want to scan, but I don't want to connect to it. So I'm scanning for that particular port, but I don't want to connect. So I'll use the -z command. Then we go to the -o. -o, small o. This means basically you're creating a file. You're creating a new file using Netcat. You'll see how to do it. This file usually stores a hexadump of what you're doing. Okay. Before I get to the practical, I wanted to take you through this. These are some. Sorry for the heading. These are some phases for penetration testing. The phases of penetration testing, there are 7. We have pre-engagement interaction. Initially discusses scope definition and agreement with the rules. let's say you go to a company and you want to, they have invited you to pen test their services, so you can get to identify some vulnerabilities and so on. You'll have to engage in this. This is where you make the agreement with them and an understanding, so it cannot bring you any legal costs afterwards. Then after that, you begin the intelligence gathering. This is where you collect information about the target system, networks such as IP, domain names, and server names. I think this one is straightforward. You just connect about the device you want to attack. You connect, you try to gather some information which will help you when trying to attack that device. Then we go to threat modeling. Threat modeling basically is identifying potential threats and vulnerability based on intelligence. So in threat modeling, let's say I've gone to Google. So then I will gather vulnerabilities based on their system. That's what it means. You just identify the threats based on their system, on what company you're trying to attack, basically. If anything is not clear, just feel free to unmute or send in the chat, then let you know. Then we go to the fourth step is vulnerability analysis. Here's whereby you access the security weaknesses in the target and exploit them. Or before exploiting, is you analyze them and you come up with strategies in which you can exploit them. That's what it means by vulnerability analysis. Then the fifth step is exploitation. Here's now where you perform the hacking. You penetrate into the machine, gain authority, and so on, and control. Then there is post exploitation. Post exploitation. This is basically you want, after hacking a machine, you must want to maintain a connection so that if you want to revisit it at another date and exploit more information, you can do so. So in this stage, you just maintain access, escalate privileges, and cover your tracks. It's important to cover your tracks so that you can't be discovered. If you discovered, they'll remove it. So let's continue. The last one is reporting. When you are pen testing, mostly when you do for companies, you have to do a documentation of what you did, what your findings were, step seconds and all. So in this phase, that's what we do. Okay, so we can get to it the lab work. So we'll start with port scanning. So Netcat is not ideally a good port scanner, but it can perform to a certain degree port scanning. So I would like to explain this syntax before I take you through the lab. So as I told you before, when let's say you're using Linux distribution, you will use the command nc. Can you all see the screen clearly, or is it small? I can expand it. Okay. So the command nc, this one basically stands for Netcat. Then then the options. There's a different way you can also write it. You can also write it just -v space -n, like that. So here -v, as I told you before, it means verbose. Then -n. I didn't explain it, but -n basically means no DNS lookup. So it won't provide your DNS to the machine you're trying to attack. Then there's the W. The -w is the wait. So we're telling Netcat to scan. Then after finishing scanning, scan without looking without giving our DNS. Then to wait 3 seconds and close the connection. So then here you put the IP of the device in which you want to scan. The IP of the device in which you want to scan the ports for. Then -z. That's Z, I told you it's 0 IO. Basically, you don't want to connect to the device. You're just scanning in this case. then you give the port ranges. Let me show you how we can do it. First, I'll begin with how we can do it on our Win machine. I hope everybody can see my terminal for Windows. If they can see my terminal for Kali at least. So as I told you, first we have to get our IP. You can get our IP by ipconfig. You run the command ipconfig. Then it'll display to you some menu. Then from there you can get your IP. As you can see here, my IP address is 192.168.100.6. Then this is my subnet and my default gateway. My gateway basically means my router on which I'm connected to. I'm sorry, I could have given you. Next, for my Kali, I already know my IP, so we'll use the verbose -n. Wait 3 seconds. For scanning, then we wanted to scan this IP. My IP for my Kali. My Kali device is 92.168.100.28. Then the -z. After the -z, we specify the port in which we want to see they're open. So we can say between 1 to 100. Let's see which ports are open. Basically, I don't think any port is open, so let me open some ports. Let me listen on some ports, then we can run this command again. So on my Kali, I'll just, let me first clear the terminal. I'll run the command nc -v verbose. Then I'll listen for port 24. And then I'll open another instance of Kali. Here I've run c -vlp. That means give us more information, listen on port 24, basically. So let me just open another So I'll go to putty, open another instance. Sorry, I don't have a display to show you. I'm using a Kali Linux on my Raspberry Pi, and I don't have a display to show you. That's why I'm SSHing. So in this instance, we run nc -vlp, then we run port 30. So I've opened port 24 and 30. We can come back to our Windows machine. So in my Windows machine, so now we want to check for those ports, for those two ports. Sorry for that, I forgot one port. It was port 24 and port 30. So in our Windows machine, we just write the netcat, ncat in short, -v n -vnw 3 seconds. As I said, it will close after, and then the IP of our Kali is 192.168.100.28, and we want to connect to it. Then, because we know our ranges, it's 24 and 30. There is no need for doing 1 to 100. That's just wasting time. But if you don't know, is when you can specify put 1 to, let's say, 1,000, like that, to see how many ports are open. But if you know the range, you can just say like put 20 to 31. That should be okay. Bit. Wait 3 seconds. The IP. Sorry for that. Here's the command and C. Give me a bit. I don't know what's wrong with my machine. So as you can see, let me try again. No, what's wrong. 3. The IP is 192, 168, 800, 28, 100, 20, 30. That's looking. Nmap. Let me see if I can find the port suite with Nmap. Sorry for that. As it's running, let me try and find the port using Kali here. So I'll open just another session. So when I continue, I've seen it's finished here. So as you can see, I've used a different command from that. I've used Nmap. As I told you before, Netcat is not a good port scanning tool. I don't know why it's refusing in my name. But basically, here, this is the command for running Nmap. Then this one means specifying a port. Then this one, no DNS lookup, then the IP. As you can see on my Kali machine, we have some ports open like 22, 24, 30, 80, 509, and 601. By default, 80 is usually Apache, an Apache port. Then port 22 is for SSH. Then you see I'm using my 5901 port as my VNC port. Let's try it again here in my Kali machine. So NC minus VN, just name it like that. Then since it's localhost, I'm using localhost because it's already the machine. It's itself. It's scanning for ports in itself. So there's no need for writing an IP. Just use localhost. Then minus Z. Then we want to scan for port number 24. We'll open. You can see here Netcat returned that localhost. Localhost is usually specified by this meaning IP 127.001, 127.0.0.1, and it says port 24 is open. So let me show you a bit about Nmap. Let me show you scanning some IP with Nmap before we continue. As I told you, Nini is not really a good Nini for scanning bots, but you can use this command minus uh, s basically just says list all port numbers. Then we want to scan from our main from our router. This is the IP for my router. Then we're scanning for every available IPs on that router for basically every device that is on it. Here we can see Nmap has scanned. It has found two devices that are on. That is the 20 and the 28. So I want to tell Netcat to scan for. There's one device which I'm not seeing here, so that's giving me a worry. I can't see my Windows machine, so we want it to scan for 26. Didn't want to work on my Windows machine, but we have scanned for port 24 and 30 using the. We initiated this, but in a in a in a Kali machine, so we use the command just nc not ncat. So let me skip port scanning for now. I think I'll come back to it. But before I skip, I think I can scan for some services. The services which I was telling you, like Apache and SSH. SSH usually runs on 22, port 22, and Apache runs on port 80. So I just want to show you how to start it on your if your virtual machine. You can start the services by using the following commands. So if you want to start Apache, let me first stop it. You use the command sudo service apache 2, then stop. Then we can check its status by running the same command, only altering stop. Instead of stop, we write status at the end. So as you can see right now, it's disabled. I would like to enable it. So to enable it, you can just run the same command, this time running start on your machine if you are following. It will be sudo service apache 2 start. Then this one starts Apache on our machine. Then we can check for this specific port -vn w3, then localhost. Then we're scanning for port 80, and then we can just push do not connect. W3, Z, not connect to port 80. Let me check if my service is running. Sudo service apache 2, then status. So it's active and running. Can continue. So it's nc -v for variables, then nw3 and localhost, z, then 30. Confess IP as an localhost as an IP. So for that we just replace it with our actual IP 192.168.100.28. What's not happening here? Okay. Let me just try again. Sorry for that. I don't know what's happening with my machine. Anyway, I think we can come back to scanning. For the next thing, I'm really sorry for that. Hope you can understand. I don't know what's happening with my machine, but I'd like us to go to the next thing, which is creating a simple chat interface using Netcat. So for Netcat, we'll be connecting a chat interface between our Kali machine and our Windows machine. So we'll use the syntax nc minus v. Then we're telling it to listen on a specific port. Then on our client machine, which will be Windows, we'll connect through it with the command ncat minus v. Then the host being the IP. Then the port number which we opened up. For this, on my Kali machine, I'll just run nc minus v, listen on port 30. Port 30 is okay. So now as it's listening on port 30, I can come to my Windows machine. See this. Then I'll run ncat minus v. Then my IP for my Kali machine, which will be 92.168.128, and we are listening on port 30. So as you can see here, Ncat has connected to port 30 on my Kali machine on my Windows side. So in here you can just send a simple message like, "Hey Kali." Are you all still able to see my screen? So as you can see here in my Kali machine, the message appears here. "Hey Kali." You can still do. Netcat supports like duplex, so you can communicate from both sides as long as you're connected. From my Kali machine, I'll just say, "Hey Windows." Then you can see the messages here. So I want to show you the command O. The command O, basically, I told you it saves a hex dump or saves a file. So it saves a file of what your interaction were. So we'll use the nc minus vl, sorry, minus v for verbose, then listen on port 30. Then I want to minus o, telling it to create. Then my file name will be dump.hex. So we can go back to our Windows machine and run the same command as before. It will connect. Also, I want to you can do multiple connections. So in another interface of PuTTY, still running my Kali, we can still connect to port 30. This time, instead of using ncat, we'll use the command nc minus v lp minus v, because we're not providing the port. Also, you can also do minus vv. Minus vv just says you provide more information. Then we're listening on 192. One 100, 28, and it's on port 30. 60. I think I've seen where I'm experiencing some problems. So I think it's because of opening way too many sessions. But basically, as before, let's just do the same commands as before. Then I show you what the file looks like. Play Windows, blah 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 blah. So when we end this connection, we can just view the dump file. Command for viewing the dump file was we just ls. Then we see a dump file has been created here, dump.hex. So then we can just run dump.hex. Sorry, no. So it's supposed to be wait. Put in the command. Submit. MD5. So you run MD5 sum. MD5 sum, then run the command dump.hex. It will provide this. So basically, this is the communication we just made. And if you are listening on, let's say, a tool like Wireshark, you can be able to see that this is the connection here, like the way from my Windows machine, hey Kali, you'll see hey Kali, then you'll see we receive a response from it, hey Windows, using this. You see it's the same number. So next I'll be taking you through transferring a file. So hello, is anyone still here with me? People are a bit quiet, so I don't know. Okay. As I was saying, we'll be transferring a file from my Windows machine to a Kali machine. So for this, I want to explain two things. I've already explained the verbose command listen port. This one specifies the port. So this one explain this arrow, the backslash arrow facing to my left, just shows that we're receiving from the client a file called hack.jpg. And on our client side, the arrow will be opposite, showing that we are sending. think we can just send it. If you installed Kali, you can do it with me as I do it. So on my Windows machine, just end this session. Then we'll do a clear. So the file we are sending is located in the file downloads for. So this is the file which we want to send, this hack one. It's a JPEG file, as you can see from here. So I'll just open the CMD from here. Just write CMD at the top, then it will open a CMD instance with a path. So then we want to send this file. So it's Ncat. Oh, sorry. In my Kali first, I must tell it to listen on a specific port. And as VLP. And I think we'll still use the port 30. This time we want to receive a file. So we put that arrow, left arrow, as I told you. And then the file was called hack1.jpg. So my machine, that's not the channel which I was using. To an Ncat minus V, then the IP is 192.168.128. Then here, sending the file hack1.jpg. It should be the other way around. Sorry for that. It should be netcat minus V. Then we want it on port 30. Then we are sending a file called hack1.jpg. So now we just before that, need to save the file in a specific place. So pwd checks who am I. So I want you to save it in downloads. Downloads. Now we can run Netcat. We want Netcat to connect to a Windows machine whose IP address is 192.168.100.26. Then here we're receiving a file. So you put the left arrow. The file is called hack1 JPG. Sorry, I think I've spelled the file name something. Hack1. So Netcat listening on port 30. Sorry, don't forget we are receiving from it, not sending. But non-host to connect to. Oh, sorry, I didn't put the port on as B192.168. Should specify the port here as port 30. Then we're receiving a file from it. hack1.jpg. See, it has connected on port name. Then when you close this connection, sorry, I didn't put a wait timeout. When you do a ls, you can see that here we have the file. We're able to transmit the file hack1.jpg. I think I can show you another example because this was a bit fabby. So let's just cd dot to go back. Then here, let's go to into our desktop. Then send the same file again. So here in my desktop, we just run the same command again. I think the enemy closed. So it's still listening for a connection. Let me send from a different port. This time I'll be sending it from port 100. So Netcat, then I tell it to give me more information and listen on port 100. On this port 100, I'll be sending the same file, hack1.jpg. I think everything is okay. Ncat minus VLP, yes, everything is okay. As you can see, now we've opened port 100. Then here, what we'll do, we'll just run the same command nc minus v, the IP address for for our server in which you're receiving, because Windows machine right now is the server sending the mini. So this is the IP address for our Windows machine. Then here we want to change this port to 100. Then we're receiving the file hack1.jpg. First, this connection is working. So the connection is open. So we want to receive 100 That's file or directory. Oh, no files or directory. Let me see where my yeah 100 Let me just rename the name of our file. I'll rename it to Netcat 12. So here we ncat -v listen on port 44. Then it listen we want to send. Oh, let's first add a timeout. We want the mini is called netcat 12.jpg. So we open the connection. Then our Kali machine. We'll run nc -v connect to port 444. Then we're receiving the file. So the pipe arrow, the arrow should be like this. Then the file is called netcat 12.jpg. Also file directory. Sorry, I'm the one who's confusing you, but my arrows are not many. The arrow is supposed to pointing, it's coming from Windows, sending it to Kali. So me, it's like I was trying to connect them back. Sorry for that. So my arrow should be facing like this. Right now, if we check again, the file should exist in our desktop, as you can see, netcat12.jpg. We'll take you to the next slide. For this, I want us to grab a banner. So grabbing a banner, as I told you before, is a technique for grabbing information of a system available on a certain network and all the services running on its open ports. So we can grab Nini from services like www.google.com, Microsoft, and so on. But for today, I think we'll just grab services like Google, Microsoft, and Apache locally, and SSH. Since I have them already open, we can check if they are open still by running sudo service Apache 2 status. You can still, it is still running. So as I told you, I'm sorry I didn't explain. I'm going too fast. So banner grabbing follows a syntax in which it follows. You just put a printf, then you open the quotation marks, write head slash http. Then the host. Then here in brackets the host, you put the service. The service, you can be local host if the service is running locally, or if it's like in our case Google, you can just input here www.google.com. Then we use Netcat here. Then we still in this host, the second variant of host, we still run the service www.google.com, and we are opening it at port 80. Not opening, but we are grabbing it at port 80. Sorry for it. So let's grab that information. We'll just do a clear. So we'll do a printf, then its head. Slash http slash 1.1. Then a space. After the space, we'll do slash r slash n. Then after slash n, we'll do slash, not a slash, but host. Then the host, in which this case will be www.google.com. Oh, let me wrap up. I haven't noticed the time. www.google.com. Then we'll put slash r slash n slash r slash n. Then the pipe command. Then our netcat command nc. Then the host is www. Or before that, it's www.com, www.google.com. Then we're listening on port 80. Want more information, so we'll write -v for more information here. I didn't close the quote, sorry. So this time, just do like this. Then here, I put the quotation marks and I run it. It's supposed to be print, not printf. As you can see here, it provides the IP address for the server which we have accessed Google on port 80. Then it sends a bad request. This is the server sending bad request from us. Then it tells us the time, which is on 19. Then the connection type. Can also do this for Apache. So for Apache, because it's locally, Let's change here and say localhost. I think Apache is still running. So you can see opened the service is Apache Debian. I connected at the port, but request 19 March. So that's how you can perform a banner grabbing. Hello guys, can I continue? Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. So time is not on our time. So I think I'll not show you the rest, but I can send some to you. As you see here. Really sorry for this session. Don't know what was happening with my machine, my commands.